Well, welcome back to Tech Garage, presented by Advance Auto Parts. Well, if you're like me, especially as I get older, getting up under the dashboard can be a challenge. You got to twist and turn, and getting access to things is always a fun game. I checked on the MotoLogic website to see where this blower motor was that we think is the suspect here. Remember, it didn't work when we tested it, and we know we had smoke and the smell of electrical burning. So I'm going to head to the blower motor. I had to take off one panel, 7 or 8 bolts, wasn't hard to do, a few hand tools, and I got my voltmeter inside. So let's see what that blower motor is doing or not doing. Okay, with a flashlight, I could get a good look right where MotoLogic said, there's the power connector, there's the blower motor, there's the twist lock. So step one is get that power stub out of there. Pops right out. Now let me twist lock this blower motor and get it released and come down out. Now, keep in mind, John mentioned there was a purple and a black wire. There's a purple and a black wire. We're in great shape here. So, we're going to test them. We're going to see if there's power. Remember, the key is in the run position. We're going to test for power, red to purple, black to black, which is ground. And once I get these probes seated in here, I can turn the blower motor on, but not on low, actually to high. I want full potential, or all the voltage coming through that switch to this circuit. That would put the fan on high if it was working. Look at my voltmeter, and I ought to be right between 11 and 12 volts. And sure enough, I'm at 11.1 right there. So we've got full power coming through the circuit here, but the motor itself isn't spinning. So I think the motor's a candidate. We're going to go ahead and swap it out. Back this off. I'm going to turn the blower motor switch back to off. And out with the old, and in with the new. So the blower motor here has the same connector. You just want to validate that. And we'll do one more inspection before we do the final install. But it goes up and in, and I think this is going to be very simple. So the new blower motor comes in here. And I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to validate with the meter. We know we've got 12 volts coming to here. We're going to validate this is working and that the other motor was the problem. I'll connect it and pre-connect it. Now this time I'm going to get a good firm grip on this. I don't want to jump it out of my hands. And I'm going to turn the blower to low. We should have power right here, and we do. That old blower motor was in fact the problem. No more smoke and smell in here. I'm going to get this replaced, get it back up and in, and I'm going to do one final inspection. Remember all that smoke? You want to make sure there's no charred wires, nothing's burnt, nothing's a problem in here. So one final inspection before I reinstall it. And I think John said something about a window problem. This guy's going to be next, but first we better understand exactly how our power window circuit works.
Now, Brian's right. It's always a good idea to understand the circuit, how it works, before you dive into doing any kind of measurements. And ATEC sent us this power window system, lays it all out. Only on Tech Garage you're going to see a power window system wide open. You actually have the power window motors. They're right here. And then your switch you operate is located right here. You just hit it and it operates the motors. But how it operates the motors is pretty cool because it does it bidirectionally. How does that work? Well, it sends 12 volts up to it, it goes through the motor, and it returns to the switch to ground. I know that sounds complicated. We'll look at it in the schematic in a minute. Most window motors operate the same way. You hit it one way and hit it the other, and I can show you how it operates properly, then we'll open the circuit, and I'll see what happens when it's not operating properly. So if I come over, you can see this is working just fine. But if I unplug it, and then I come over with the meter, and I got it on volts, and I'm going to go across the 2 leads that go to it. Now remember, I said it's going through the motor and it's returning back to ground. So what we're going to see is I hit the switch, you can see you got 12 volts, and if I go the other way, it's an actual negative 12 volts. So it's reversing the polarities and it's allowing the motor to go up and down. Now if I plug it back in, you can see it's actually auto running there, just like you hit the button in your car, and then it stops. It can stop over at a given period of time, or it can actually sense the amperage. When your window gets to the top and starts to bind on that motor, it'll open it up. Now, if I want to open the circuit, I can do that real easy. I just come here and open it up. The board's going to short it out and open it up internally. That's an open circuit. We're not getting anything to it. So what happens is, first of all, it's not going to work. That's our case. Now, if I unplug it, what's going to go on? If I go ahead and I go across my connector, okay, and I hit the actual, you see nothing on the meter, nothing in either direction. That means we have an open circuit somewhere in the circuit, the switch or whatever's going on, but we don't know if the window motor's good or bad. If we had the 12 volts up there, the window motor's bad. Now we can take a look at the schematic that's actually dealing with our truck. Brian's dealing with this exact motor and this exact switch. So here it is right here. We start out right at the top here. It feeds 12 volts through a circuit breaker. It comes down to the switch. Now that's the easiest thing to check. It's right in the door panel. You can pop that off. You can check 12 volts going into that. Then you hit the switch on the other side. I should have that positive and negative voltage coming out. I go all the way down to the motor. The motor's located in the door panel. So what we want to do is tear the door panel off, which I believe he's doing right now. You can see he's going to have a dark blue wire and a brown wire, just like we did on our board. If he takes his voltmeter and he goes across those two leads, hits the switch with everything plugged in, and he sees a positive and a negative 12 volts, well, we know everything up there is good. It has to be a window motor. Strategy-based diagnosis, just go back. 12 volts there, bad window motor. No 12 volts, and open. No 12 volts, a switch. It's real simple. Just take your meter, take your time, work up your circuit, understand your circuit, and you'll be able to tackle your problems. Brian's digging deep into that window circuit. We'll have more when we return with Tech Garage.